Let me ask you something real. When was the last time someone said the right thing and completely flipped your mood? When was the last time someone ignored you and you couldn't stop thinking about it? When was the last time you reacted and immediately regretted it? Here is the brutal truth that most people never want to hear. Every single time you react. Every single time you show them what bothers you. Every single time you let your emotions spill out, you are handing them the keys to your life. Emotion is not strength. Emotion is a handle. And the moment someone knows your handle, they don't have to force you. They just pull. Think about it. The more you feel out loud, the more predictable you become. And the more predictable you are, the easier you are to manage, to manipulate, to move like a piece on a board. The world, this cold, calculated world, is not run by the loudest people in the room. It is not run by the most passionate, the most expressive, the most open. It is controlled by those who withhold, those who observe, those who reveal nothing and take everything. Most people think caring deeply is a virtue. They think wearing their heart on their sleeve makes them real, makes them relatable. And sure, in poetry maybe, but in the real world, in relationships, in the game of power, caring too openly is exposure, and exposure creates vulnerability. And vulnerability is what gets you used. Machiavelli understood this more than 500 years ago. He studied rulers, courts, and betrayals. And what he found again and again was one central law. Control belongs to the one who is least emotionally dependent. Read that again. Not the strongest, not the smartest, not the richest, the least emotionally dependent. Because power is not about how much force you have. It is about how little leverage others have over you. Now before you close this video thinking this is about becoming cold, becoming heartless, becoming a robot, let me stop you. This is not about that. This is about something far more powerful. This is about becoming unreachable. Still present, still engaged, still fully alive, but impossible to shake, impossible to move without your permission. These are not habits. These are not tips. What we are going over today are control mechanisms, 7 of them. And each one, when you put it into practice, removes one more way for the world to push you around. By the time we reach the end of this video, you will see every emotional reaction you have been making and understand exactly how much it has cost you. And more importantly, you will know what to do instead. Before we move forward, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my reactions. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Number 1. Conceal your emotions to eliminate weakness. Your emotional reactions are not private. Every time your face tightens, every time your voice shakes, every time you go quiet when someone brings up a certain name, you are broadcasting. You are sending out a signal to everyone watching that says, this is where I hurt. This is what I care about. This is what you can use against me. People do not guess your weakness. They observe it. They watch you. They test you. They say something off and they watch your eyes. They ignore your message and they watch how long it takes for you to follow up. They cancel plans and they measure how fast you reach back out. They are running experiments on you every day without a lab coat. And every visible reaction is data. Data that builds a map. A map of exactly where to press to get what they want from you. Your boss, who knows you get anxious when projects are criticized, uses that to keep you working overtime. Your ex, who knows you still flinch at certain memories, uses that to stay in your head. Your competitor, who knows your pride flares up when challenged, uses that to push you into bad decisions. This is not paranoia. This is how human beings operate. Power goes to the one who knows more while revealing less. Expression turns your internal world into external information. The moment you show it, it is no longer yours. It belongs to whoever is watching. So what is the move? The strategic move is simple. Reduce your visible reactions. Reduce your attack surface. Not forever, not with everyone, but deliberately, especially when there is something at stake. When someone delivers bad news, do not let your face collapse. When someone challenges you, do not rush to defend. When someone tests your limits, do not immediately show them where the line is. Make them guess. Keep them unsure. Because what they cannot read, they cannot target. This does not mean becoming fake. It means becoming disciplined. There is a difference. Fake people pretend to feel something they do not feel. Disciplined people feel deeply, but they choose when and where and how much of that feeling becomes visible. The face you show the world is a tool. Use it intentionally. A calm face in a storm is not absence of feeling. It is control, and control is power. Stop letting your face be a mirror of everything happening inside you. Let it be a mask. One you choose to lower only when it serves you. Lesson 1 is not about hiding who you are. It is about protecting who you are. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence is power. Number 2, eliminate all needs to become non-negotiable. Here is where it gets uncomfortable, because lesson 2 does not just ask you to control your face. It asks you to look at what you actually want from people, what you need, what you are quietly, constantly hoping someone will give you. Need creates dependency. And dependency removes control every single time. Think about the relationships and situations in your life where you feel the weakest. I would bet real money that in almost every case there's something you want from that person or situation. Validation, attention, closure, approval, a response, an apology, recognition for what you have done. The moment you want something from someone, the moment you need something from them, you have handed them positional advantage. You have moved yourself into the lower seat at the table because now they have something you want, and that gives them leverage over you whether they use it or not. This is why some people stay in relationships that drain them for years. They need to feel chosen. This is why some professionals never leave toxic jobs. They need the validation of the title. This is why some friendships feel one-sided forever, because one person is always needing, always hoping, always waiting, and the other person consciously or not keeps them in that position. The power shift happens, and this is critical when you become genuinely willing to walk away. When you are okay if the deal falls through. When you are okay if they do not reply. When you are okay if the relationship ends. Not because you do not care, but because you refuse to give anyone that kind of hold over your choices. Non-attachment removes all pressure points. When you need nothing from someone, they have no card to play. There is nothing to withhold, nothing to threaten, nothing to use. You become non-negotiable because there is simply no angle from which to pressure you. Machiavelli once said, "The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not." Need ties you to a moment, to a person, to an outcome. Freedom from need lets you move when the time is right. Start watching yourself this week. Every time you check your phone hoping for a certain message, that is need. Every time you repeat yourself waiting for someone to validate your point, that is need. Every time you stay somewhere that no longer serves you just because leaving feels too uncertain, that is need. Identify it, name it, and start working on releasing it. Not by pretending you do not care, but by building enough inside yourself that external approval becomes optional, not essential. The most powerful people in any room are not the loudest. They are the ones you sense do not need anything from you. And that quiet self-sufficiency, it is magnetic. It draws respect without demanding it. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I need nothing to proceed. Number 3, use silence to force others into exposure. Most people are terrified of silence. They rush to fill it. They over-explain when a simple answer would do. They respond immediately when a pause would be far more powerful. They talk when staying quiet would tell them everything they need to know. Here is what no one tells you about silence. It is one of the most aggressive psychological tools available to you, and it costs absolutely nothing. Here is what happens when you stop reacting. When someone says something designed to provoke you and you say nothing, they immediately start questioning their approach. Did it work? Did it land? Should they push more? Did they go too far? The silence forces their mind to fill the gap. And in filling the gap, they reveal themselves. People who are trying to manipulate you rely on your reaction to confirm their position. Your anger tells them they found a nerve. Your defense tells them the accusation was close to true. Your explanation tells them you feel guilty. Your immediate response tells them you were waiting. Every reaction you give is feedback. It tells them whether their tactic worked and where to push harder next time. But when you give them nothing, they are left with their own thoughts, and their own thoughts start to work against them. They reveal more, trying to fix what they think went wrong. They over-explain. They backtrack. They get louder. And the more they move, the more you see. Silence creates psychological imbalance without effort. It turns their attention inward while you stay completely unaffected on the outside. You are watching everything. They do not know what you are thinking, and that uncertainty alone puts you in control. This works in negotiations. You make your ask, you state your position, and then you shut up. The other person will almost always speak next, and usually in a way that benefits you. It works in confrontations. When someone comes at you hot, you stay still. Your stillness is disorienting. They expected resistance. They prepared for a fight. You gave them a wall. Now they are fighting themselves. It works in everyday conversation. When someone asks a pointed question designed to get a reaction, you pause longer than is comfortable. You let the silence breathe. You answer only when you are ready on your terms. Machiavelli once said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." But before any of that, watch how a person handles silence. Because the one who can hold silence holds the room. Learn to sit in silence without rushing to fill it. Train yourself to pause before every important response. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you understand that silence itself is a statement, and often it is the most powerful one you can make. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My pause speaks volumes. Number 4. Break your patterns to stay unpredictable. People are pattern recognition machines. From the moment someone meets you, they start collecting data. How you respond to stress, how quickly you reply to messages, what makes you laugh, what makes you defensive, how long it takes you to forgive, how far you can be pushed before you push back. Over time, and this happens faster than you think, they build a model of you. And once they have that model, they know how to manage you. They know what to say to calm you down, to fire you up, to get what they want, to avoid conflict, to stay in your good graces. You become, in the most literal sense, manageable. And managed people do not lead, they follow. Consistent emotional patterns train others how to deal with you. The person who always gets angry when criticized. People learn to sugarcoat everything around them and never tell them hard truths. The person who always forgives quickly. People learn they can take advantage knowing the reset button will be pressed. The person who is always available. People learn to take their presence for granted. Your patterns are the leash. And most people are wearing one without knowing it. Controlled unpredictability removes their ability to plan. When people cannot predict you, they cannot prepare. When they cannot prepare, they cannot execute whatever game they were running. They become cautious. They become hesitant. They move more carefully around you because they genuinely do not know what to expect. That hesitation, that is respect, not the kind you demand, the kind you earn by being impossible to read. This does not mean being erratic or chaotic. Random behavior is not the goal. The goal is deliberate variance. You are the same person with the same values. But you express yourself in ways that cannot be boxed in. Sometimes you respond immediately. Sometimes you take 3 days. Sometimes you agree. Sometimes you push back on things you used to let slide. Sometimes you are warm. Sometimes you are all business, always in control, never in a formula. Break the patterns people have come to rely on. Not to be difficult, but to protect your freedom. Because once someone fully understands your pattern, they own it. And if they own your pattern, they own a piece of you. Machiavelli once said, "A prince never lacks legitimate reasons to break his promise." Patterns are promises you never officially made, but others are holding you to anyway. Break them deliberately. Start small. Change one consistent behavior this week. Respond at a different time than usual. React differently to something that normally gets a predictable response from you. Watch how quickly the dynamic shifts. Watch how people recalibrate. That moment of recalibration, that is your power returning. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am never predictable. Number 5. Withdraw attention to increase your value. Here is a truth about human psychology that nobody wants to admit. We do not fully appreciate what is always available. Think about the people in your life who show up every single time, no questions asked. Who respond the moment you reach out, who are always there, always warm, always consistent. And think about how often you take that for granted. Not because you are a bad person, but because the brain assigns value based on scarcity. What is rare is precious. What is constant fades into the background. Attention is a currency, and like all currencies, it loses value when there is too much of it in circulation. When you give your attention generously and freely to everyone all the time without any filter, you are not being kind. You are devaluing yourself. You are telling people at a subconscious level that your attention costs nothing. And people treat free things the way they treat free things. They use them and move on without thinking twice. This is alignment. Aligning how you give your attention with how much it is actually worth. The irony is that most people do the exact opposite. When they sense someone pulling away, they lean in harder. They give more. They become more available. And in doing so, they make the problem worse. The other person pulls further. The dynamic shifts further because now the imbalance has been confirmed and your increased availability just confirmed your lower position. Step back instead. Let the silence exist. Reduce your responses. Make yourself slightly less reachable. Not in a punishing way, not as a game, but as a genuine reassertion of your own value. Let your presence become something that has to be earned. Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions." The greatest self-deception, believing that more availability equals more love, more respect, more connection. It rarely does. Start treating your attention like your rarest resource because it is your focus, your time, your emotional energy. These are finite. When you scatter them freely, you will find them return to you sparsely. When you hold them with intention, you will find others showing up differently around you. Value increases when access decreases. That is not cruelty. That is reality. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My presence is valuable. Number 6. Delay your response to control the situation. Speed is mistaken for strength. But in most situations, the person who responds first responds weakest. When you react immediately to everything, to every message, every provocation, every question, every demand, you are demonstrating emotional compliance. You are showing the world that you are on call, that you are available, that when they push, you move. You have essentially set the expectation that your rhythm will bend around theirs. And once that expectation is set, it is very hard to break without deliberate effort. Delay does something that speed cannot. Delay introduces control over the timing, over the tone, and over the direction of what unfolds. When you decide when to respond, you decide the emotional temperature of the exchange. You decide whether it escalates or de-escalates. You decide how much weight your words carry when they finally land. The one who decides when controls how it unfolds. Read that again. Timing is not a minor thing. Timing is a form of dominance. Think about negotiations. The first person to name a number is usually at a disadvantage. Think about arguments. The first person to raise their voice usually loses the room. Think about requests. The one who responds immediately to demand signals that their time is less valuable than the person demanding. Calm delay forces others to operate outside their rhythm. When someone sends an aggressive message and you take a day to respond calmly, clearly without matching their energy, they are suddenly scrambling. They sent heat. You sent precision. They attacked on their timeline. You responded on yours. The power dynamic just shifted without you saying anything dramatic. This is especially powerful in high-stakes situations. When the stakes are high, speed feels urgently important. But that urgency is usually manufactured, designed to rush you into a reaction before you have had time to think. Do not take the bait. The situation is rarely as urgent as it is being presented. Take your time, gather your thoughts, and respond from a place of complete control. In daily life, this looks like this. Someone says something that frustrates you. Before you respond, you pause. You breathe. You walk away if you need to. You let time do the work of separating your emotion from your judgment. And then only then you respond with exactly what you intend to say, not what your initial anger wanted to say, what the situation actually requires. Machiavelli once said, "Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times." Change your timing with the moment, fast when speed serves you, slow when slowness gives you the advantage. Delay is not avoidance. It is precision. The pause before a powerful response is not weakness. It is the moment where you decide who you want to be in this situation. It is the gap between stimulus and choice. And in that gap, everything changes. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I respond, never react. Number 7. Practice detachment to remain untouchable. Here we get to the deepest principle of all. The one that makes all the other 6 possible. Because you can try to conceal your emotions, reduce your needs, use silence, break patterns, withdraw attention, and delay responses. But if you're still emotionally entangled at the core, all of it is theater. All of it will fall apart the moment the pressure gets high enough. True lasting power requires detachment. And detachment is widely misunderstood. Detachment is not coldness. It is not indifference. It is not showing up numb and going through the motions. Detachment is measured involvement. It is the ability to be fully present in a situation without being swallowed by it. To engage genuinely, thoughtfully, powerfully without depending on the outcome. Here is what detachment actually looks like in practice. You observe without absorbing. Someone comes at you with anger, with grief, with manipulation, with need, and you witness it fully. You understand it. You respond to it. But you do not take it into yourself. You do not carry their energy home with you. You do not lie awake replaying their words. You engage without depending. You care about the outcome, but you are not owned by it. You want the deal to close, the relationship to work, the project to succeed. But if it does not, you do not collapse. You recalibrate. You move forward. You are not tied to any single outcome as the only path to your peace. You withdraw without explaining. When a situation no longer serves you, when a relationship has run its natural course. When a chapter is finished, you exit cleanly. You do not owe anyone a lengthy justification for choosing your own well-being. You move quietly, decisively, without drama. Emotional discipline removes manipulation pathways. When someone cannot make you angry, cannot make you desperate, cannot make you afraid, cannot make you need them, they have no way in, there is no button to push, there is no lever to pull. You become, in the truest sense of the word, untouchable. And here is what is beautiful about this. You are still there. You are still participating. You are still fully engaged with life, with people, with the things that matter to you, but you are doing it from a place that cannot be hijacked. You are present, but you are never owned. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But the highest level beyond fear, beyond love is to be unreadable. To be respected without being understood, to be valued without being dependent upon. Detachment takes practice. It is not a switch you flip. It is a skill you develop over time through repetition, through conscious choice, through learning to recognize when your peace is being held hostage by something outside your control. Start with small things. The driver who cuts you off, detach. The friend who cancels last minute, detach. The project that does not go as planned, detach. Not because these things do not matter, but because your reaction to them should not define your day. Build the muscle, and over time, the muscle gets stronger. And the things that used to shake you, they will still happen, but they will land differently. They will find no grip. They will pass through you instead of into you. You will become present, but never accessible, engaged, but never trapped. Powerful because nothing can reach the center of you. We started this video with a single truth. Emotion is not strength. It is a handle. And we have spent the last several minutes breaking down step by step exactly how to remove every handle from your life. Most people will finish watching this, feel something stir inside them, and then go back to the same patterns. They will react to the next thing that provokes them. They will reach out when they should stay quiet. They will show their hand when they should hold it. They will keep making themselves emotionally available to everyone, and they will keep wondering why they feel out of control. But a few people watching this, maybe you will actually sit with what was said and they will start to shift. Here is the summary. Power is not force. Power is not volume. Power is not status or money or influence. Real power is emotional independence under pressure. It is the ability to stay still when everything around you is in motion. It is the ability to observe without absorbing, to engage without depending, to walk away without explaining. The shift that takes you from managed to untouchable is deceptively simple, but it is rare because it asks something most people are not willing to give. It asks you to stop revealing. Stop telling everyone what bothers you. Stop wearing your frustrations and your fears and your desires out loud. Hold more of yourself back. Not out of fear, but out of strategy. It asks you to stop needing. Stop tying your peace to someone else's approval. Stop waiting for closure that may never come. Stop letting what you want from others determine how you move through the world. Build your own foundation. Stand on it. And it asks you to stop reacting. Stop letting every provocation pull a response out of you. Stop moving on other people's timelines. Stop letting the outside world be the thermostat for your internal state. Become the thermostat. Instead, set the temperature. Hold it. When you do these three things, when nothing can move you without your permission, the world has to deal with you on your terms. That is not arrogance. That is not coldness. That is mastery. If this video opened something up for you, if you felt something shift while watching this, then I want to ask you to do three things right now. First, hit that like button. These videos take real work and your support is what keeps this channel going. Second, share this with someone who needs it, someone you see giving away their power every day and does not realize it. And third, subscribe to this channel if you have not already. We put out content that most people are not ready to hear, but that the right people cannot afford to miss. Drop your final affirmation in the comments below. Prove to yourself and to everyone reading that you're walking out of this video different than you came in. The final law of this entire framework is this. When nothing can move you, nothing can control you. And that is the identity you're building. Not a cold person, not a distant person, not someone who stops caring about life or people or outcomes, but someone who participates fully and is never ever owned by any of it. Become the one who observes without attachment. Become the one who operates without being influenced. That is your power. Claim it. Drop this final affirmation in the comments.